Welcome to another episode of Resortera Waves, the second that we do this week, and I think today it was an emergency episode, I would say, because the big news coming from Mexico and Spain is that Andres Guardado ends his time in Europe, more than 15 years in Europe, to return to play to Liga MX, specifically to Club León, who can be say that the quote unquote the two last great Mexican players to play in Europe, Rafa Marquez and now Andres Guardado. Their first stop back in Mexico is in León. So that's a big show off from the Martinez family that owns Pachuca and León, that they were able to bring back Rafa Marquez, and now they bring back Andres Guardado. Andres Guardado comes specifically to Liga MX to try to win Leagues Cup, as we know. It's an important tournament according to FIFA. And who knows, Guardado can win a Balón de Oro. Oscar, that was you. You told me to say that joke to start this thing. But great seeing you.
Yeah, no, joking aside, that it's looking like MLS and Liga MX players have the potential to fight for a Ballon d'Or, given the last Ballon d'Or given to Messi. But jokes aside, I think Messi's the greatest of all time that I've seen. But it does do a little bit sour taste in your mouth too, right? Just like with any MVP awards and any sports battle. Yeah, it's a crazy one. I like that parallel you made with the Rafa Marquez, because they brought Rafa back and they bring Guardado.
Let it be known, Rafa coming after a poor stint in the New York Red Bulls, so it wasn't directly from Europe to León like Guardado is doing.
Yeah,
there was a detour in New York, New Jersey, that didn't go as planned for Rafa Marquez.
Yep, that's true. Did he come in the summer window though? Versus, I was telling you off air, I do find it surprising that I thought he would hold off at least until the summer so he can get like that final farewell.
Yeah.
Because you can just see the connection.
Betis. There's a lot of situations. There's been a big connection between Betis and Liga MX in the last, I want to say, 5 years or so. Canales leaving Betis to come to Monterrey to start. That was something that started towards the end of last year. So of course there's been that connection. Guido Rodriguez from America to Betis, and then of course Lainez from America to Betis, and now Lainez is in Tigres, so it didn't turn out so well. But I was really surprised. I really thought that he was gonna just retire in Betis, and then take on another role inside the club, as a potential future manager, because by the looks of it, based on interviews and everything, it looks like Guardado is shooting in that route, that he will be a manager. But he decides to. I think that the offer was very attractive from Leon. No, Oscar, as we have seen, the price tags are pretty good. The money is really good. As we speak right now, there is a strong possibility that Jorge Sanchez, who is on loan for Porto, might be going to Cruz Azul. And that was a rumor. I think Leon Lecanda from ESPN put that out. But Gerardo Arteaga's name has also, who's in Belgium, has been thrown out there as a possibility to come back to Mexico. But Guardado, the difference between Guardado and these names that I'm saying, I mean, Guardado's already 37 years old. I mean, it's the end of his career.
He deserves his paycheck.
His paycheck, he deserves it, and I think
his severance, right?
Basically.
His pension.
It's basically it, no? And I think Leon, after a poor performance in the Club World Cup, because it was a poor performance, they needed something like this, to change the mood around the team. Really, they do have probably one of the not the most exciting Mexican prospect right now, but definitely top 3, and Fidel Ambriz. So also that comes into mind. But what are your thoughts, Oscar, with Andres Guardado returning to Liga MX?
Like I said, I thought it was very out of nowhere, at least for me, especially given it's the January window. And like I was mentioning, I thought he really was gonna ride out the last 6 months of his contract to finally, just enjoy what the fans of Betis brought to him, overall. But yeah, I think it's a very solid European career, in my opinion. I think if we had 11 Guardados during his time with the national team, I think it would say a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
the
it's great
mentality
that
aspect, no?
yes, if everyone had that, the same determination, where like, I mean, I hate to bring it up because I really did like watching them at Villarreal, pero like Jonathan Dos Santos, Gio, if they stuck it out in Villarreal for at least two more World Cup cycles, given their age, I think they could have done it. Ache too is a perfect example too right now with the Atletico, and you see the interviews as well with him saying that it was a lot for him and his family mentally for not playing, just different cultures and everything like that. And the fact Guardado going through the same issues, whatever issues, personal issues that or sporting issues that what was happening to him, to the other players, it all obviously happened to him, but he somehow stuck it out. So it's a shame in a sense, but I think a very solid career. Even though there's going to be naysayers who are going to say that what did he really do? He only really competed at a mid club level, if that. That's being generous to what people say,
Yeah.
but I think it's applaudable to what he did because not everyone does it, especially if you're a Mexican footballer.
No, and I think the thing with Guardado is that in every club he was at, except maybe Valencia and Bayer Leverkusen, because those were very quick. But when you look at what he did at Deportivo, especially the fact that he played with the team in second division and helped them, get back to first division, says a lot about his character. What he did in PSV, the league titles there, playing at a great, great level in Champions League with PSV. Hector Moreno was also involved in that sort of journey with PSV. Says a lot about his level, and it was remarkable to see him play. When the offer from Betis arrives, Betis was not an organized club as it looks right now. It was a team that would always be in second division, go back up, and then go back to second division. It always had a nice history in Sevilla, a great fan base, but it never built consistency. And Guardado was one of the first signings when they brought him in that they sort of proposed him this project, and if he was interested in, to grow it, and what started as a proposal that was very, very, when you look at it, it was a very, very strong proposal, very difficult task on hand because Betis was never, known for its consistency and look what happened. They won a Copa del Rey, which is a big deal when you think about it. From Betis winning a Copa del Rey, that's as big as they can aspire because, as we know, in La Liga, it's controlled. It's mainly Real Madrid, Barça, Atleti. Those are the three main ones, no. So whenever another team that is not those three wins a title, in this case the Copa del Rey, it's a big deal, no. And Guardado was involved there. So when you look at it from the club level, it is really unmatchable. It's really brilliant when you compare it to Rafa Marquez's career in Europe and Hugo Sanchez's career in Europe. Because there is a big we gotta count all those titles. A lot of people say, well, don't count the Netherlands titles because the league is not top three and not top five in Europe. It's still a title, no? And as we saw, uh, you know, after Guardado left PSV, Ajax won all the titles, and then Feyenoord, and now again PSV is trying to recuperate that lost level. So it's not easy. But now when we look at it from the national team perspective, I think there is legitimacy to the debate on his proactivity. Was he productive in the national team level? Because I feel like when he played in that 2006 World Cup game against Argentina, that was the highest. I had never seen such a performance from a youngster in such a important stage of a World Cup. It was different. It was nothing has been able to replicate that up to now, and we're already to almost 2026. So that's how crazy it was. And after that, he lived from that moment, and he had the minutes in Europe, but he could never match it consistently in the national team level. He really struggled at the national team level, I think.
Yeah, I think you summed it up right. He had like the Benjamin Button disease, like reverse of his career, where like it started off great. That World Cup, I think you said it right. He like had that was his best World Cup, I think
That
you'd
was
say.
his only game too. He only played in that game.
And then 2010, Bosco didn't like him, right? So I guess we can write that one off, okay? But 2014, he was coming off of Valencia, right? He
Excellent.
wasn't playing, and then the
Eh,
whatever that whole mess of the qualifiers. 2018 too. I think he came from an injury, right? He literally just had surgery, and then he tried to play a World Cup, and he even said, I mean, he just if you
let,
look at the details of his World Cup, he does a great breakdown, and he agrees that he probably didn't match up to the national team level, especially at the World Cups.
Yeah, I think that the expectations were high. Ever since 2006, you expected him to be the guy. And this is not to say that he didn't show it at times. There were moments, especially the Gold Cups. There's plenty of Gold Cups that
The
El
Copa
Tri
America,
wins.
right? Was he in that?
In Copa America in 2007, the one with Neri Castillo, the one
He
that
was
they,
there, right?
yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
Third place finish. They beat Uruguay in the best third place match, and I think he scored a golazo too. He had moments of brilliance, and I think the his last game with the national team, crazy. The story is crazy, no? His first
Hollywood
game,
script.
yeah, I mean, his last game was against Argentina in the World Cup. This one that just passed, and he leaves injured as well. I mean, he doesn't. He's not able to finish the damn game. Couldn't finish it when he was 18, 19. Couldn't finish it when he was 30 something, 34, 35. Um, but I think what you can't ignore is his corazon. He always played with a lot of heart. That was obvious. But I think that there is that asterisk that he could have done more. But like you said, I think you said it right there. The ambience of the national team, the way that it's so polluted, and all the stuff that happens, coaching changes, or maybe like with Osorio, nobody liked Osorio, but he was still there.
Certain things that
Um,
were out of his control. You know what I mean?
influence his erratic behavior, or playing in the national team. No,
No, I agree. I mean, it's like I don't want to sound negative because if we really look at it, he did kind of like it's similar to like the Rafa Marquez, right? Where Rafa Marquez had this great European career in Europe, but the national team it never really translated. But I do think for Guardado it was way more chaotic versus Rafa's time. But yeah, it was just one of those things where unfortunately it was never able to be translated the way it should be. And then also, like you said, literally certain circumstances were just like out of his control. And then also when everything bad could happen happened. Like example, the 2014 one, he came in with that whole lot disaster, along with not playing consistently. 2018, he had surgery.
but let's be honest. In 2014, when he gets the starting role with Piojo, everyone thought that Chapito Montes was going to be the starter, but then he gets hurt in Dallas, by the way, Arlington, whatever. But the Guardado enters the 11, and I think he does all right. I mean, I think that World Cup, and especially the Croatia game, the
Yeah.
the trifecta of Gallito, Guardado, Herrera in 2014 has been one of the most
I
special
agree.
midfields, no?
I agree. But my point is to that though, imagine if he was playing already for PSV at that time
Oh, no,
with
no, pues,
consistent playing time.
yeah.
But the way he came in, though, he came in with all, whatever happened in 2014, which we all know, we don't have to repeat. But if you remember 2014, that's when he went to Leverkusen. He wasn't playing at Valencia, and then he went to Leverkusen where he was playing a left back.
Yeah.
And then the same thing going into the 2018 World Cup, along with all the crazy stuff with Osorio, right? All the drama there. He literally has surgery on his knee like 2 weeks or a week before the World Cup, and
Of
then
course, he's
just
not
like
gonna
that,
be
you're
100%.
not gonna be 100%. And then 2022, he's too old at this point. And then when it looks like he's having the game of his life, and you could just see it, right? The ambience and the intensity he brought to that team, and you could just see as soon as he came off, he gets injured uh, against Argentina and under the first half. So I think that too. It's one of those things too where sports, like, everything has to kind of come in your way, and not everything's going to go your way too. I mean, how long did it take Messi for everything to come all together for him at the national team? Where he's already
No,
a
and
grown
then
man.
poor Messi, he didn't have a nice supporting cast. I mean, it's a supporting cast that Messi had. I will imagine
Exactly,
if Guardado had a supporting cast of that sort.
exactly,
So it's not just
exactly.
Messi, so but it took a while, but damn, poor Messi in the supporting cast that he had, you know.
Pues sí, pero overall, I think, despite the negatives, I think Guardado is going to leave a stamp, hopefully, to these young kids who want to have a legacy or really want to push themselves to the next level, because we can see the Alexis Vegas right now, right? Um,
Dantunas, no.
Tantunas, Charlie's, slight dig there, but um, hopefully they don't just see them, the money and the flashes and everything, because at the end of the day, who am I to judge? Go get your money. But
Yeah.
hopefully you can look at something like Guardado, because I think legacy and the people who like know football and love it, they're gonna appreciate that more in the long term.
Yeah, no, I think you said it right. I mean, if El Tri had 11 guardados, then that idea or that dream of making it big in the world stage would be more probable, no? More
You would see a
considerable.
difference,
It
without a
would
doubt.
be closer to reach that goal. But it's not the case, no? And I think the sad part of all this is that instead of seeing more inspiration from the youth in Mexico, I'm not really seeing it really. It's a very very regressive stage of the national team, and a lot of youth teams, and the whole Mexican game is just going backwards instead of taking steps forward. That's my impression. And Guardado, it closes just a circle. No, he's back in Mexico with more experience. I do think Leon with Guardado, they'll up their level a little bit. They'll probably be a protagonist in Liga MX. That's something to consider.
In Leagues
Um,
Cup.
in League's Cup, of course, Messi won it. Why can't Leon win it? But that all depends, and we'll see exactly what it happens with Leon and everything. But I think it's a good move. It's a good move for him. It's a good move for Leon. It's a good move for Liga MX. And I know a lot of people are saying, now Liga MX is becoming a retirement league now that Chicharito might also write to Chivas. Pero pues, ¿y qué tiene? ¿Y qué tiene? I mean, it's Mexicans. Mexicans get all the money. Well, it's nice. At least they're not paying other nationalities to get all the cash, no?
Yeah, I know we gotta win too, right?
What?
We gotta win our paychecks too, not just the
Well, yeah, that's a different
motorizados,
story.
right?
That's a different story, though.
No,
No, but
but
we'll
the
see.
Andres thing will be good though. Hopefully that influence will rub off on him. They'll be like, "Hey, you see what these guys are doing? That's great, but you can do so
Yeah.
much more if you just stick with it."
Yeah, because with Fidel Ambris, there was this rumor that he was gonna move to Chivas. No, this offseason, the last weeks that's what I've heard. And luckily it didn't happen. But now I think if he stays in Leon and Guardado's there, hopefully something. He understands a little bit of what he sees and everything. Um, in Betis with Lainez and Guardado there, it didn't work out. I think it was just difficult for Lainez to break through because there were so many options offensively. Um, but it's unfortunate that didn't work out. But
Yeah,
when it comes to Guardado, if Guardado's not in Betis, Lainez doesn't get the opportunity in Betis. That's how I see it. And that's how it happened. Guido Rodriguez got an opportunity also I know he's an Argentine, but when he arrived to Cholos, nobody knew who Guido Rodriguez was, and then he moves to America, and then stuff happens. So it is difficult that, but I think closing the topic, hope for the best with Andres, and hopefully he can, like you said, Oscar, teach a couple of things to Fidel.
No, without a doubt, I agree. Definitely, just a chapter closed. He just retired from the national team, and now he's done in Europe, making me feel old now too. Now, because I remember watching him in 2006 as a kid,
Yeah.
and then now he's like a full man, grown man with a family, and about to retire in that next part of his career, which is
Yeah, it's,
crazy.
it's
Full
insane. It's
circle.
crazy. It's a full circle, full circle. Other topics to close real quick. There's a big rumor going out there on Twitter that the host of the final will be Dallas, Arlington. So it's not a bad week, for Mr. Jerry Jones, ¿verdad? ¿Así se llama el señor?
Yeah.
The Cowboys lose, but he will have the final of the World Cup. So you think about it. El Tri has been going to that stadium, I want to say consistently since 2012, 2011, maybe. When was that stadium funded? Not funded, open, inaugurated.
I'd say around that time.
Right. I remember Severo Mesa played a great game there against Brazil, no?
Was it
I think it was in that stadium when El Tri actually won that game, I think, against Brazil.
2009?
It was 2009?
Yeah,
No manches.
that was the when we went against the Olympic team, though, right?
No, pues yo me acuerdo que jugó Neymar.
Yeah, because they were going on tour though for the Olympic team, I think.
Yes, I remember that was that. So I remember a lot because Severo Mesa played a really good game there. So look, it got inaugurated in 2009, and I want to say El Trip has played there at least every year, no? 2010 up to now.
Hmm.
Do you think that influence, that John De Luis, I think the former president of the federation, I think he's involved with the organization still of the World Cup. Um, I think El Tri signed a contract with Jerry Jones that every year El Tri has to play a friendly there. So how much do you think that influenced? Do you think that influenced or no?
Um, I don't know the exact percentage of how much it's influenced, because at the end of the day, business is business too. Um, it's hard to tell. I think more than anything, they just wanted to go to a market too where the stadium and the market is right too, right? You got to have that soccer fandom that's going to go to the games and spend all this money. There's a reason why it wasn't. Uh, the SoFi Stadium was also in contention, and this Dallas one and the Mets one.
MetLife.
MetLife, sorry,
Yeah.
the MetLife. But given the recent, connection of Liga MX and US soccer, I wouldn't be surprised there was definitely some influence, especially like you said, the fact that the national team is either always playing in those markets. It could be. I mean, they're probably hoping on maybe not FIFA, but maybe US is hoping for a Mexico final some capacity because of the amount of money you can make. Imagine the World Cup final with Mexico.
No, pues imagínate. No, but that would be insane. It will be interesting to see. I mean, because when you think about the United States, now keep in mind this is a United States, Mexico, and Canada World Cup. If it had only been the U.S. World Cup, I don't think Dallas is the host of the final. Because
You
when you think
think?
about it, it's like you go. Let's see. Right now, I go to Rome, Italy, and I'm not gonna promote Dallas as a nice city to visit in the United States. I'm gonna say New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. Chicago's not even a venue. Chicago doesn't even won't host a single World Cup game.
Boston, even though we don't have a stadium in Boston.
No, well, Foxborough. No, I think Foxborough will have a game. No, in the World Cup, I believe so. No.
We will, but it's one of those things where like they're we're getting off topic, but the fact that Foxborough is like 30 miles away from Boston and it's marketed as Boston with all this great architecture of Boston, and you go to Foxborough, it's concrete, just
There's
concrete.
a bunch of trees and stuff too.
Yeah, it's just a suburb,
It's a forest,
typical.
bro. That's what it is, a
Yeah,
forest. No, but that's the thing, though. It's really surprising that it's Dallas. We're saying it's Dallas. We're still gotta wait because it's not. It's a rumor reported out there. So, but it's looking like it will be Dallas. No,
the
um,
'94 one was in Los Angeles, right?
yeah, the Rose Bowl, I believe, the Coliseum or something, or one of
Mm-hmm.
those two. No, I don't even know. I confuse the names every now and then, but we'll see. We'll see what the reaction will be once the announcement is official. I think it was between Dallas and MetLife in New Jersey. So,
I was hoping for MetLife just because of my location. I feel like the East Coast never gets anything good soccer related, but
well, I read an article this morning from the Athletic, and they say that the Club World Cup in 2025, most of the venues will be in the East Coast. Like almost all the venues will be in the East Coast. This is a crazy thing. The venues will be in the East Coast because the time zone kind of helps a little
yeah,
bit with Europe, and the West Coast will be for the Gold Cup. It's like a freaking Gold Cup every year for some reason. But there is gonna be a Gold Cup and the Club World Cup at the same time next year, in the summer.
well, I didn't know that
So
we were doing the. Well,
well, the Gold Cup is every 2 years, uh, and
I feel
so
like that was every summer for at one point.
So it's one of the most intriguing money grabbers that ever existed, and it is a case. No, the only games that fill up in the Gold Cup are the ones that Mexico plays. It doesn't matter if they're playing against Haiti or Honduras; that game will get filled up, and that was the case last year. No, that's how Jimmy got the job. Jimmy got the job because he was able to win the Gold Cup. So I mean that's going on. And the last note: Alexis Vega goes to Toluca. What do you think about that, Oscar?
Just I think that just like every Chivas fan, I think they're really done with that kid.
He didn't even get gracias on his on
Yeah, I
his
noticed that. Did you
on
see
his.
the one where it's like gracias all these other players, and then it's like suerte?
It's like ya sácate, güey, ya no te queremos ver.
Yeah, pero yeah, and the fact that he went back to Toluca, like why not just wait out your contract and try Europe if you're gonna be a going a freebie, pero going back to the
No,
Guardado thing.
no, pero es que cómo vas a comparar, no, it's a whole different story, whole different topic. Is
No, but in terms of like he shared the dressing room, and Guardado's probably spoken to him, right?
yeah, yeah.
Given the situation, he knows that him going to Europe is going to be almost impossible without a gigantic fee that's going to be matched by another Liga MX team. The fact that he was in a situation where his contract ends in the summer, right? He can go on a free. He can choose without whichever club he wants to go at that point. But I guess
Son cada quien. Also the age. Keep in mind that a bunch of knee injuries this guy has had as well. But then he returns to a place where there is a sense of comfort. He played there before, but we'll see. But that's the end of Alexis Vega for sure. I don't think we'll see Alexis Vega in the national team again. There is a slam hope if he starts banging goals with Toluca, and Jimmy knows him. Use 23 proceso. I think Jimmy has gone on publicly to say that he has spoken to him after the whole mess with that basically took him out the map from Chivas. So we'll see, but I don't really see in a reason or to put him to play for the national team anymore.
mm-hmm. But even like functionally, tactically, I don't know where he fits anyway, to be honest. Other than the fact that Jimmy likes him, but hopefully, seeing what Jimmy has done so far, it's looking like he's dropping those players that even though he likes them and they're his guys, he's just understanding early that that's you can't do that with any team because otherwise it'll be your downfall. I mean, you just saw Tata with his process, so.
Yep. So Andres Guardado returns to Liga MX, specifically to León, Guanajuato. We'll see how that rolls. Right where the Feria de León is going on. The Feria de León is going on right now over there in León. So it's a nice period to arrive to Mexico. You can see the big artists, Alejandro Fernandez, So, present, go train, then go to the Palenque and see a good concert. It's a good time to arrive to León.
Not too far from Guadalajara too, to be honest. So I think it's a perfect move for him, to be honest. So
Yeah.
good
So
for
all
him.
the,
Go
no,
get your check. I'm not. You had a good career. Deserve it.
exactly, deserves it. He retired from
Deserve
the
it.
national team and now about to, I think that's his last team. No, he'll probably retire in Liga MX, unless he wants to retire with Atlas, no? Like kind of like how Rafa did it.
At this point, I think it's gonna happen. They have to.
Leave for 6 months, no? Just play one season.
Mm-hmm. And then financially, it makes sense for Atlas too. I think that 1 year for
So those
Guardado to be
jerseys
there.
too.
Get the stadium. That's what Rafa did.
Ahí vamos a ver, pues. So that's the end of this episode of Resortera Wave. Thanks for watching. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy the games. Enjoy Liga MX, the African Cup of Nations. What other stuff is going on? La Liga, Premier League.
Premier League, all the big ones
Yeah,
usually.
hopefully Edson has another good game.
Yep.
Boom. Ciao, ciao. Thanks, Oscar, for joining.